All right. So this is the Marvel tier list, the movie one. Everything from 2000 to now. Stop moving. But I have I have S tier, A tier, B, C, D, E, F, and trash can. Um, S is almost flawless because obviously there's no such thing as a perfect movie, and then trash can is really self-explanatory. The fucking
All
worst of the
right.
worst. All right, so first one, the original Wesley Snipes Blade. Where do you want to put this one? Because I'm feeling like it is a 50-50.
Yeah, it's C or D.
Because it is good. Because it's good. So I feel like it's better than okay, but I don't think it's extremely good.
Right. Yeah, we'll
Like,
do 50-50. Put it in C.
all right.
We can switch it around if we need to later.
Yeah. So, also on that listing, next up is the original X-Men. What do you feel about that one?
I think it gets a bad rap because they had those uh terrible costumes in it, but all in all, it was an okay movie. Um
So
I
C
wouldn't
tier
say
also.
extremely, yeah. I wouldn't say extremely good, but you know,
I agree with you on that too. Like these original movies, studios branching out trying to make superhero movies. I feel like they're good enough. Like yes, the nostalgia makes us want to say they're better than what they are, but in reality, like going back, like I own all these movies for pretty much all these movies for the most part. But
me too.
going back and looking at some of them, I'm like, oof, it was not that good. All right, the Tobey Maguire Spider Man. I am going to go with B. I think it's extremely
Yeah,
good.
extremely good. Not as good as the Tom Holland version, in my opinion, but it's still extremely good. The rewatchability of it is really good. Like you can definitely go back and rewatch those Tobey Maguire ones
Yes,
and enjoy them.
yes. I mean, Willem Dafoe steals the movie for the most part with his portrayal of Green Goblin. So I feel like that's going to be the biggest thing for this movie.
Yeah.
Tobey Maguire is okay as Spider. Like he's a good Peter Parker. I feel. Um, but next on the list, Blade 2. I actually feel like it is a D list movie. I don't think it's better than the original.
Don't think the second one is better than the original. I think they took a step back with the second one for
Yeah.
sure. So yeah, D.
Uh this movie gets a lot of shit. Daredevil, I actually think it's a 50-50 movie. I think it's good enough. Um Colin Farrell's portrayal of Bullseye is really the thing that holds it down for me, personally. But you being a
Yeah.
Daredevil guy, how do you feel about it?
I thought it was 50-50. The TV series is much
No,
better
definitely
than the
better.
movie was.
Yes.
And I can't wait for the Daredevil Born Again, the reboot of the Netflix series.
Well, I guess a requel technically because it's a sequel and a reboot all at the same time.
Yeah, I don't, they're doing something weird with it.
Yeah.
And I just read that Born Again is just a working title. It may not be called that when it comes out.
Well, I mean, that's a heavy title to try to live up to.
Yeah.
All right, so next on the list, X2. I'm gonna put this one up. For me personally, it is a movie, but I can see people putting it in a B or C. But for me, it is
Uh,
A.
no, I'll go A with X2. I thought it was much better than the original.
Yeah,
Um,
I think at this point they stepped up because they were trying to compete with how good Spider Man was doing,
mhm.
and they definitely stepped it up with the introduction to newer mutants, trying to interweave all these stories, and they did it actually pretty well for the most part. Some stories sort of did get a little mad to it, but overall, I think it really did like jump up from the first one, and it definitely did overpass Spider Man in my eyes.
Yeah. Yeah, the original Spider-Man for sure.
Next up, the Eric Bana Hulk with the Hulk dogs. Um, I'm a weird one. I don't think it's the worst thing ever. I actually want to put it in E tier. Like, what the hell was that? Like, They try to make a movie, but
yeah, it definitely wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen. But the 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 Hulk dog was kind of eh. So yeah, E.
all right. Thomas Jane and John Travolta in The Punisher, not the Dolph Lundgren one, but the second one. One of my favorite movies. Very fond of it. I'm a huge Punisher fan. I don't think John Travolta's main villainous ability was great in this movie, so I always put it as a 50-50 in my eyes. I know some people definitely put it lower than that for some reason.
I was actually gonna, before you said that, I was gonna go 50-50 on that one as well. Because it's not the best, but it's also not the worst. So I could think of a worse superhero movie than that one.
Well, the thing is, they did a PG-13 semi-hero movie, but they used the Punisher, and that's not the guy you do a semi-hero PG style kind of thing.
Right.
All right, Spider-Man 2. I'm gonna put it up here in the excellent for me. Obviously, we know Doc Ock is probably the best villain portrayed in the Spider-Man series still to this date.
Yeah, it was definitely better than the first one. They did step up. So I would go with an A category on that one as well.
Blade Trinity. This movie is weird to me because there's good parts, but there's also a lot of bad parts.
Yeah,
Especially the vampire dog.
that's almost as bad as Hulk Dog.
Yes, but I think this movie is better than Blade 2. So, I mean, I could technically put it on the D list above Blade 2, or maybe we could put it at the end of 50-50.
Yeah, let's go 50-50 for now.
50-50, I feel like you're going to get a lot of movies, and people will be like, what the fuck are y'all doing? We're being honest about movies. Yes, there are nostalgia, but we also know there's shit sometimes.
Yeah.
Or do you want to put it down at D?
No. Let's do 50-50, and then we can go back and look at them. Once we have them tiered out, we can go look at them and be like, maybe this one is this and that one is that at the very end.
So, next up, Elektra. How do you feel about it?
They had the opportunity to do something really good with this movie, and I just feel like they missed the ball on that. Personally, I'm gonna put it in E tier.
You're being nicer than me. I was gonna put it in F because who was this movie made for? To be honest,
it was made for Benifer.
Yeah, that's literally what it was for. Is it worse than Hulk or better than Hulk?
Actually, it's worse than Hulk. I would put it. Let's go F. Yeah.
I was gonna put it F, so I was like, it's gonna be worse than Hulk for me. But next thing is Man Thing. Was that a Marvel movie? I don't remember that. Man Thing.
What is? Yeah, I don't.
Man Thing. Let me look that up real quick. That might be a misput.
What is that?
A 2005 film on Tubi.
Man Thing.
It was a sci-fi movie.
Okay, I don't remember this.
I don't
at
either.
All.
I mean, it is a Marvel character, but his budget was $7.5 million, and it made $1.1 million back.
Oof.
God, Oof. I don't even remember this movie ever being a thing.
No, but now I have to search it out and go watch it. find out where that's streaming at.
Tubi.
So it was originally released in Singapore before it came to the United States. Okay.
Let's put this in the trash.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to put this one in trash can because we obviously have not seen it and we can't give a good estimate, but it doesn't look like it was
good at
good.
All right. The original wholesome Fantastic Four with a Doctor Doom who I think is an embarrassment as Doctor Doom.
I was going to say, you being the Doctor Doom fan, tell us where you would put it.
I actually like the four, like Michael Chiklis, Chris Evans playing his second superhero at this point. Jessica Alba and Reed Richards.
Who did he play before this?
He was in Push.
Oh yeah,
he did Push.
Forgot about that.
He did Push. This. He's done Losers, Captain America, and there was one other. I think he's done 5 superhero movies, and he's done 6 technically comic movies because Snowpiercer is a comic, and he did that. But I can't remember what the other superhero was. But yeah, I was looking back at some of his stuff, and I was like, damn, he's done a lot of superhero movies. Like he was destined to make bank off of Marvel. But I like the cast. I like the story overall. I didn't like Doom in it, but it is not bad. I'd put it at a 50-50. It is a good introduction for super casual fans.
See, I was gonna put it at D. I mean, I guess it's okay. There was a lot of stuff that, most notably, the portrayal of Doom in this. But
I mean, we could put it at D. Like I said, it's a good for casual. Is it better or worse than Blade 2?
I think it's about on par with Blade. Maybe a little better than Blade 2.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So next on the list is a movie that I think is one of the most decisive movies in the Fox reign, and that's X-Men 3: The Last Stand. I've actually gone back and rewatched it a couple of times. I think this movie is better than most people think, because most people write it off and say it's the worst. But I actually feel it's almost on par with X1.
Yeah, it's not as good as 2.
2 was too high of a bar, and I think that was the issue.
But I think it's a little bit better than 1.
Yeah. You think it's a little bit better than 1? I can see that, yeah. There's a few things in both of them that I can say, yeah, this is better than this one, but this one's better than this one. So like, next on the list, Ghost Rider. I'm gonna just scoot him right here.
Ghost Rider.
There's no justification for this movie.
There's really not. It's like I'm gonna go F.
That's where I put it.
Because again, who the hell was this movie made for?
Nicolas Cage.
Other than Nicolas Cage,
who was not Johnny Blaze. Like, why did they pick him to be Johnny Blaze out of all people?
Your guess is as good as mine on that one.
But I still put it above Elektra.
Yes.
All right. So next on the list is another super divisive. Just a lot of dust on my monitor. A movie that had such great potential going up into it, and unfortunately the studio put his fingers in it too much, and that's Spider-Man 3. And I unfortunately put that add an E behind the original Hulk movie because of how bad it was.
Yeah, there was so much potential for this movie, and
They shit on it.
they really shit on it. I would put it at an E as well. And I know we're gonna get some comments, like, dude, that movie was so good. Like, go back and watch it. It was not as good as you remember.
It's so hard to watch. Like, there's just so much going on. Like, Topher Grace being Venom was such a bad casting decision.
Yeah,
Like, I get he was coming off of that 70s show and he was popular at the time, but no, he was not Venom.
No, I just recently watched this, like, within the last 4 months with the boys, because Colt loves Spider-Man, and we went back and watched like the original movies, and he really liked the first two. But even at 5 years old, he watched it and he looked at me and he said, "Daddy, what the hell was that?" I said, "I don't know, buddy."
Yeah, it's that kind of movie. Uh, um, Next on the list is Fantastic Four 2 Rise of the Silver Surfer, and I'm going to put that also in the E category for myself. And I think it's actually better than Spider-Man 3. But
I was super excited when they announced that they were going to do Silver Surfer, because I think that the Silver Surfer character as itself is really good. But this portrayal was terrible. So
the whole movie was just bad in my opinion. Like what the fuck was going on for most, like they try to put in so many of the Fantastic Four storylines in one movie, and it did not work out.
So this is what happens when studios try to do money grabs.
Mm-hmm.
You get movies like Fantastic Four, Spider-Man 3, the Hulk movie,
Ghost
Elektra,
Rider.
Ghost Rider,
Man-Thing.
Yes.
I don't even know who that was for.
No. So yeah, it's like, okay, so the first one did pretty good. Let's go ahead and not know anything about the story and give you a second one.
And put a lot of love interest in it just cause.
Yep.
All right, so next on the list is the start of the true MCU, and that is the original, or not the original, because that shit was an abomination too, but the Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man 1. I'm going to put this... Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say this. So with this being the true MCU, like, jump off.
Yeah.
Well, technically, the Hulk was Eric Bana Hulk.
No,
yes,
because that was still Fox, or
no. But remember, at the end of it, there was the Easter egg of Cap's shield frozen in the snow. So technically Hulk was the jumping off point, and then Marvel was like, okay, we can do something with this, and that's when they created like Marvel Studios for Iron Man 1.
No, they started making Iron Man, the Marvel Studios, when Spider-Man 3 came out, because they wanted to get all their properties back and make their money back, because they weren't making shit off these movies.
No, they weren't. But yeah, the Eric Bana Hulk, if you remember, there's the Easter egg at the very end.
I thought that's because they had the rights to Captain America. They just never made the Captain America movie, and then Marvel bought it back.
So, but I would personally put Iron Man 1 in A.
A? Okay. I was going to go with B, because, I mean, is it on the same level as X2 and Spider-Man 2?
For an origin story of Iron Man, I think so. But we can go B, extremely good, and then rearrange if need be, once we get the rest of them done.
All right. So next on the list is the Edward Norton Hulk, the second MCU movie. And the biggest thing that shit on this was Edward Norton having creative control over some of the script, which was fucking stupid. Why would you give your actor control of a script where he's the main character?
Yeah, I, I thought it was better than the Eric Bana version, um, but not as good as I would put it in D because I don't think it was as good as like Blade X3, Daredevil, but I thought it was better than the Eric Bana version of the Hulk.
So I think I'm weird because I like the Eric Bana version more than the Edward Norton one. The
Okay.
the Eric Bana one actually shows him being Hulk more and doing more Hulk stuff, while the Edward Norton one is just like a hit or miss of him being Hulk. And he also remember gets his ass kicked by the dude that later becomes the Abomination
Yeah,
in
he
that movie.
did.
But before he even had powers and stuff like that. So I, we can put it in D. I can see some people like it more than the Eric Bana one. I'm just weird like that because I'm okay with the Hulk dogs, even though I know they're bad. Uh, so we're going back to Fox in between making movies, and this is X-Men Origins Wolverine, where we get the shitty Deadpool, uh,
Oh
uh,
God, that was terrible.
but a really good Gambit.
Yes. If you can turn a blind eye to how shitty the Deadpool was in that, and yes, it was Ryan Reynolds who still portrays Deadpool, but
Who also kills his own character at the end of two, was it? Who kills that Deadpool, or was it the end of one?
uh, I don't remember.
I don't either. I know at one of the end credit or sort of credit scenes where he does a traveling back and he kills the Wade Wilson with his mask stitched up, or
Yeah.
his mouth stitched up, not mask, just to get rid of Deadpool
Um,
because even he hated it.
but I would put this in overlooking the terrible Deadpool. I would put this as an extremely good movie. B.
B. All right.
Mhm.
Next up on the list is Warzone Punisher or Punisher Warzone, which was a rated R violent extravaganza of a really good Punisher movie, in my opinion.
Yes, I thought this one was much better than the Thomas Jane and John Travolta version. Uh,
So my thing is that I'm always up in the air because I don't remember who the villain was in this movie.
now that you say that, I don't remember the villain, but I remember. I guess it's all the the action. I mean, as a guy who likes action movies, uh,
Like I think if it didn't have the name Punisher on it, I think it'd be beyond like a really excellent movie. But since it does
yes,
have that Punisher title attached to it, I can't remember who the villain is. That's kind of bad.
yeah, yeah, you know what? I've got to look this up now. Um, oof. What is? Who was the hell?
Who was it?
Let's see.
The movie came out in 2008.
Jig
Jeez.
Jigsaw?
Oh, it's Ray Stevenson that plays him in this one.
Dominic West. Yeah, Ray Stevenson plays Frank Castle, but the
Yeah, is Billy is
yeah,
Jigsaw? Yeah.
okay. Why do I not remember that? Oh well.
I don't either.
Oh, and it was the first of only two movies that was produced under the Marvel Knights banner. Um, that and the second Ghost Rider, Spirit of Vengeance, were the only films released under the Marvel Knights banner. I wonder why.
don't know. Oh, it's a Lionsgate movie. All right, so you want to put it? Where do you want to put it? You said it's excellent, or
let's put it in C, 50-50. Because I do think it was better than, if my memory serves me correctly, even though I didn't remember the villain, I remember the action sequences, and I felt like it was better than the first Punisher, but I don't think it's on par with like Spider-Man, Iron Man, and Wolverine. Yeah.
All right, so next up on the list, going back to the MCU where they try to fix up their hiccup with Iron Man 2, and this has Sam Rockwell playing Hammer and Mickey Rourke playing a Russian.
You know what? I actually liked Mickey Rourke in this movie. But I also don't think this movie was as good as the first one.
Oh, definitely not.
I'm weird like that. I know some people like this one better, but I did not.
I don't see how people like it better. Like, I don't think it's. To be honest, I think it's an E movie.
I was gonna go D on it. It's okay, I guess. Because I do think Mickey Rourke saved it with his portrayal of.
I think that's the worst part of it.
Really?
Yes, I think his portrayal of fucking Whiplash is the worst part of that whole entire movie. Oh, wow. And see, I like Mickey Rourke because this was right after. Well, this is about the time he did the Wrestler too.
It was right after.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, cool. And I was like, what the fuck is this character? And why is he having such an abysmal Russian accent? And then we have Sam Rockwell, who I actually like as an actor, playing Hammer. And I was like, I don't believe him being a Hammer either.
No.
Like, I was like, they miscasted the two villains so poorly in this movie. But Robert Downey Jr.'s charisma is just so high.
Yeah.
Like, he's the saving point for me in this movie.
Well, I mean, it is RDJ as Tony Stark. Like, he's playing himself.
Yeah.
So,
ouch. Hope myself. So next on the list, I feel like it's another drop off for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and that's Thor 1.
Yeah, I think this is a D movie. Because it was okay, but I feel like they did better later with this character.
Yeah, I don't know why they went the direction they did with Thor 1 and 2. Don't get me started on 2 yet.
Oh, no. We'll talk about that when we get there.
So next on the list, we have Fox doing a resurrection of good movies, in my opinion. Doing the second lineage of the X-Men was X-Men First Class, with James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender as Professor Xavier and Magneto, and Jennifer Lawrence as Mystique.
Yes. I actually thought this was better than the first one.
Than X1.
Yeah, than X1.
For sure.
But I'm not sure it was as good as X2.
Oh, it's not. X2 is such a hard comparison, but I do think I put this in a B. For many, like Kevin Bacon was a very good. He stole the scene in this movie. The one thing I did not like was they killed Darwin off with an energy orb, which doesn't make sense because if anybody knows anything about X-Men mutants, Darwin's ability is to over adapt, so he shouldn't have died. And I think that's the only reason why they killed him off because he was a broken character to begin with. That's like my only fault with that movie. I love that it was set in the past, so it's not like you actually get some origin stories of how they all met up and became to be, and it's the true First Class. So you don't have Cyclops, but you do have his brother Havoc, and they're all learning how to use their powers. We get Beast, not played by Kelsey Grammer this time.
Right. It was a better version of Beast, and I
Yeah.
like Kelsey Grammer, but
Yes. Well, to me, it's always weird when I go back and watch the original X-Men line, and it's like Kelsey Grammer like fucking Beast. Like it's such a smart decision to cast him like that because how smart Beast is, but it's just always so weird to me to think Kelsey Grammer did a comic book movie character.
right,
But no, I want to put. I say First Class is a B tier movie.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
All right. Next on the list, Captain America: The First Avenger. I feel like with another myth for Marvel. I feel like
See,
it's. Go ahead.
I'm with you on that. It's D at best.
Yes. I feel like it's better than Hulk and Thor, but not better than Iron Man 2.
Right.
Unfortunately. like, like my biggest issue with Captain America was that it was a lot of no action, and then good action, then no action. Like it was so slow.
Right. We're gonna get a lot of shit for this list. I know it. I already know it. But
Yeah. Next on the list, Ghost Rider 2. I'm gonna put that in the trash can. Worse than the first one.
it was. It was. Oh my God. Why? Why did they make this movie?
I
I,
don't like. Yeah, who was like? Not only who was this for? Who produced this movie? Who lost money on this? Like who lost the bets?
yeah, they had to draw straws. All right, we need a second Ghost Rider. Who's gonna take the hit on this one?
The person who drew the short straw, fucking, they try to get out of it so hard. They're like, "Fuck, I can't, guys. I got tuberculosis. I can't do it." Something.
Right.
But this one was fucking abysmal. Like I didn't like the
No,
first one to begin with, but this was just so much worse.
no, but this one was it killed at the box office. It had a
Which doesn't
57
make
million.
sense.
It had a $57 million budget and brought home 132.6 million.
How?
I don't know. But it does say this film experienced worse critical reception than the first film, with criticism being aimed towards the script, CGI, and acting.
Yes, literally, this is one of the few times I agree with critics over audience because this movie was fucking bad. Like, it is a trash can. I should make a bottom. I should make another tier level and call it dumpster fire and put that one in there.
Right. I don't understand. Like the critics, and normally I don't listen to critics because if they hate a movie, I like the movie. But no, they hit this one like nail. They nailed it with
Yep.
one hit.
Yep. All right. So next up on the list is the culmination of the MCU's first attempt, and that is the team up Avengers 1. Now, I really do like this movie a lot, and I definitely think it's better than all the MCU movies besides Iron Man 1. I feel like this movie is, I'm going to get shit for this, I feel like it's a 50-50 movie.
Yeah, you know what? This is another one of those movies I thought was really good. I can't sit here right now without looking it up and tell you who in the hell the villain was in this.
Loki. Remember, he had a Tesseract.
That's right.
And he abducted Hawkeye.
That's right.
The reason why I give it a 50-50, and I know people are giving me shit, oh, they teamed up and it did so good. Like I said, it was better than all the other movies but Iron Man 1. They gave more character to some of our characters, but overall, I feel like it was just a bigger Iron Man movie than a full Avenger movie at that point.
I definitely think so. Definitely think so. And with this movie, we got the third portrayal of the Hulk.
Yep, with Mark Ruffalo, who definitely was the right pick anyways.
Yes.
Mark Ruffalo's done an amazing job as Hulk, and he's actually, you could tell he knows who and what Hulk and Banner are separately.
Yeah, because like with Eric Bana, I thought he did a good uh Banner and not so good Hulk.
Yep.
Whereas with Edward Norton, I thought his rendition of Hulk was a little better than his rendition of Bruce Banner. But Mark Ruffalo nails both of them, and you like you said, you can really tell that. I think maybe I mean I haven't seen it in any interviews, but I think maybe Hulk is his favorite character in the comics because he really knows his Hulk stuff.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either, but he looks the part for both because he's not scrawny or small or anything like that. Like Eric Bana was fit, but he wasn't big, and Edward Norton also fit, but he didn't look the part for Banner either.
Right.
Eric Bana did have the look of Banner, but Mark Ruffalo it has the right size for both. Like he's not overly big to be a Banner, but he's also not small enough to where when he transforms into Hulk, you're like, that scrawny dude was a Hulk. Like, but I say this is the top of the 50-50 right here. I think it is better than Blade. I think it's better than everything but Iron Man 1 so far.
Yes.
In the MCU. Like I said, I felt like it was just more of a bigger Iron Man movie. So next on the list, we get a continuation. We get a second version. We get a really good movie in The Amazing Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield. I want to put this in at B tier already.
Yes.
I love all the Spider-Man movies. I really do, except for 3, because Spider-Man 3 was not, it wasn't it. But Andrew Garfield, to me, was portrayed more of the Spider-Man that I like, and that's the ultimate line of Spider-Man. So his Peter Parker isn't super closeted nerdy. He is a little bit more outgoing and stuff, but his Spider-Man also is more intuitive for the most part. And I feel like he did a really good part of this. And everybody's like, oh, he's not a good Peter Parker. Yes, he's a good Peter Parker from the Ultimate line. That's why he's the Amazing Spider-Man. He's a different Spider-Man. They literally gave it a different title because they're giving you a different version of Peter Parker.
Yeah.
But no, I love this movie. Andrew Garfield got the short end of the stick, and I'm glad that Homecoming or No Way Home gave him the fucking redemption and everything that we needed. He definitely stole that movie. Everybody said Willem Dafoe. No, Andrew Garfield to me, I think did the best performance of everybody in that movie. And that's hard to say because that cast was fucking stellar.
Oh yeah,
like
it was a stacked cast.
Yeah, like that right there is. We'll get to it when we get to No Way Home. I'm gonna wait. But next on the list, a movie that also gets a lot of flack from people is the toss up I hear on both sides is Iron Man 3. What do you feel about Iron Man 3?
So I thought Iron Man 3 was better than Iron Man 2. And I would almost say it's on par with Iron Man 1. Almost. There's just some minute nitpicky things that would make me say it's not as good as Iron Man 1. But I really feel like the redemption from Iron Man 2 to Iron Man 3 was top tier.
I agree with you. I definitely think it's better than 2. It's not better than 1 for sure. The only things that I did not like about this was the Mandarin twist,
right?
Unquote, I guess, and that's really my only dislike of it. I like Guy Pearce's portrayal in it. I like that final battle scene too a lot. Overall, It was definitely a more emotional movie, and they sort of like. They were making it seem like it was Robert Downey Jr.'s last Iron Man movie too, like the way they played up for it for most of the movie.
Yeah.
But next on the list, a movie that I think missed the mark and had a great potential is The Wolverine, the one where he goes to Japan.
Yeah, this is for me a D, because having read the comic line of where Wolverine goes to Japan, they definitely missed the mark. The source material's there.
Yep.
Use it.
And I know they were trying to modernize it, and they did some things good. Like, I'm not going to shit on it. They did do some things good, but overall, the movie didn't feel up to the potential, or it is. I felt like, I think at this point, Hugh Jackman may have had Wolverine fatigue, which I don't blame him. This was his sixth portrayal technically, because he was in First Class in that one scene.
Yes.
But the material also just didn't hit like it should have. I feel like it could have been better. Maybe a different writer or director. Maybe, I don't know what could have been. Like, overall, like, they had okay casting too. So I don't know what it was, but yeah, I feel you on the D. I guess it's okay. The next movie. Next movie is Thor 2. Let me put that here on the F.
F?
I can't say it's trash yet because it's not the worst Marvel movie, MCU movie.
No, I guess it's, yeah, F.
Because who was this movie made for? Literally, the only reason this movie was made was for the Reality Stone.
Had to be. Because this one is by far the worst Thor movie. I can't even go back and watch this one.
Oh no, I skip him. I skip 1 and 2 so much because I just feel like, oof.
I would rather watch 1.
Oh, definitely, I'd rather watch 1, but I still feel like both of them are like, oof, oof. But I feel the same way about Edward Norton's Hulk. Like, I'm like, oof, I can just skip this one.
You're right.
But no, Thor 2, the Dark World, the villain is a fucking elf. There we go. That's it. That's the movie.
Yeah.
Next on the list is when Marvel movies decided to ramp the fuck up. And that's Captain America, Winter Soldier. And I'm going to put that movie, in my opinion, A. Yep. Oh, you said A? I'm saying S. Oof.
Oh.
Oof.
I can't put this. Oh.
Oof. I think it's almost flawless.
I have one movie in mind that is almost flawless. We'll get to it when we get to it. But I'll give it S. I'll go with you. I'll go with you.
Because, I mean, like, it's probably got the best action sequences up to this point out of all the MCU movies. Sebastian Stan as Bucky was the best casting they had so far.
Yes.
Yes. And introducing Sam Wilson. Like I think the movie just from the beginning all the way through was just really, really good. Like, it gave you the emotional ride that you expected and everything. And at this point, like I said, like, nothing in the MCU had been this. Like, it's got all the right amount of action, the right amount of slow pacing to build the story, great cast overall, but to me, it's almost flawless. Like, there are some things here and there that, I mean, there's no, like we said, there's no perfect movie. If there was a perfect movie, it wouldn't be this one, but this one's almost there. So we're going to move on to the next movie, which I think is a banger, and I don't know why people hated on it, and that's The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I think that one is an A movie.
I can't give it A because I personally did not like the portrayal of Electro in this one.
Was it the beginning part of Electro or the part where he got his powers?
It's really the part where he got his powers. I was okay. I wasn't perfect with the beginning part. I was okay with it, but once he got his powers, it was like, hold on, really? Like, slow down a little bit.
So I actually liked the portrayal of Electro because Electro is a guy that I feel like in comics and the TV shows and everything so far had been underrated, but this gave him a bigger ability, bigger boost, and they did overpower him in some things and made him more than what he was. I get that. My only dislike of this movie, well, besides was Harry Osborn, or not Harry Osborn, but Harry Osborn being the Green Goblin in this one.
Yeah.
But the saving grace of this movie, Gwen Stacy and Peter Parker's relationship maturing all the way through and giving us such a surreal moment from the comics. Not only her death, but that fucking tears me up still to this point. But their relationship, just from them being real lovers to having to separate because she wants to focus on her life and move on, and Peter doesn't want to risk her life. Like, that's the true dilemma of superheroes. Like, that's one of the biggest dilemmas, the alter ego and the superhero ego collision. And
Yes.
I think they did it so well in this movie. And like I said, like that moment where he throws a web at her and it just slows down my heart every time. I still like, I feel it, like it just like slowly just like beats with the slowdown and everything, and it's like it clutches me so much. I think all that stuff saves it so much more than how bad the portrayal of Harry Osborn being Green Goblin is, and them just giving us a goofy Electro into a over serious Electro all in the same movie.
I will say that I liked this better than the first Amazing Spider-Man.
We can put it at B, and I'm okay with that. I understand, because I do think it's better than the first Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man. Because there's like every character, like our main characters all matured. Like they literally went out because they went to their graduation and on. Like they were focusing on their life. Like they were doing life stuff. And in the original Spider-Man trilogy, they did do that, but there were so many like age jumps between each movie.
Right.
And also, I just don't like Kristen Dunst's portrayal of Mary Jane over Emma Stone's portrayal of Gwen Stacy.
No, I'm with you on that. So I did like
put it
this.
In B.
Let's let's go ahead and put it in A. Because now the more that I think about it, if the only thing that I didn't like was the portrayal of Electro, then okay, like I did like it better than the first Amazing Spider-Man, even though I thought, the first Amazing Spider-Man was
extremely good.
Extremely good. Yeah.
I also I feel like my biggest dissatisfaction with the Amazing Spider-Man storyline is we never got the mystery solved of his parents. Because remember, they started in the first one, and they started and I wanted that to continue, and it just didn't. Like, I was like, come on.
Maybe if they would have done an Amazing Spider-Man 3, we would have gotten that. Yeah. I don't know.
There is one. We might have to knock it down to B. Now that I think about it. Rhino.
Oh fuck, that was worse than Electro. Yeah. B. Let's knock it down to B.
Yeah, fuck. Oh. I just remember Paul Giamatti playing fucking Rhino. And it makes sense to put a guy in a suit, because Rhino doesn't make sense as an actual villain unless you have a big bodybuilder dude, and then they have like some kind of like Bane style venom pump in their back that makes them that. Other than that, the only thing you could think of is a machine to make you sort of indestructible like that. But Paul Giamatti?
I mean,
that's almost as bad as Mickey Rourke's Whiplash. Actually, it might be worse than Mickey Rourke Whiplash.
This is better than Edward Norton's portrayal of...
Oh, for sure. Next on the list is the second X-Men First Class line, and that's Days of Future Past, which also gets crapped on a lot. I don't know why people at this point. Did you feel like this is when the internet really started trying to dictate what the internet wants is what the internet gets with movies? Like, they'll start rating stuff worse than what it actually is.
Yes, because I feel like this gets a bad rap, but it's also, I would say it's a B tier movie personally.
Yeah.
Better than X3, better than X1, on par with X-Men.
First Class.
Yeah, X-Men First Class.
Yeah.
Uh,
I feel the same. Like, I just feel like they were trying to crap on. Like, they started crapping on every superhero movie at this point. Like, well, they started crapping on it with, I guess, Amazing Spider-Man 2.
yeah.
Just to crap on stuff. But this one got a lot of crap too for no reason. Like, I just feel like it's actually undervalued as a superhero movie. But man, I actually like, when I go back, I actually like watching this one over and over again. Yeah,
Yeah.
I understand that people hated that Bishop got killed like right off the rip, which I do too. I mean, Bishop's a really great character that we haven't really ever seen. Even in the cartoons, we only see here and there of him.
Right.
So next up, it's a guy that's getting shit on a lot right now. Guardians of the Galaxy by James Gunn. I love this movie a lot. I think it's extremely good.
Yeah, it's an A for me.
You want to put it in excellent? I mean, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. This is one of those movies. They hit, for me, they hit everything where it needed to be. The soundtrack was great. The casting was great. I mean, we learned that Batista was a good actor.
Yep. He had a range.
Come on. Yeah. So yeah, to me that's an excellent movie. That's one of those movies that like I can go back, I can sit and I can watch it again and again and again.
So with me, I put it in like a category, and it's a category called is better than what it should have been, because
Yes.
it was a ragtag group in the Marvel universe. Not many people knew about. To be honest, even some of the comics that they have of them aren't that good, but they made it work with the casting that they had and the way James Gunn writes ensemble movies. Because I mean, the original Scooby-Doo movies were fucking stellar.
Yes.
He did them, and he sort of brought that goofy but seriousness. Like he's good at making serious movies goofy and goofy movies serious.
Yes.
And obviously uses the soundtrack to portray a lot of the emotional presence for the movie. Sometimes when he does, like, you can't really write it in a way that it expresses what you need to express. You put certain tracks and makes people think, oh, okay, that's what I'm supposed to feel or anything. But I mean, the way it was just written, I mean, Ronan the Accuser was a good villain. Groot, Vin Diesel's best movie or best character, Groot, and just the loss of Groot and how the emotion you felt just from him being who he is. And like,
Well,
go ahead.
And he only has 3 words in the whole movie. I mean,
Yeah.
he says it,
4
a
million
bunch,
times.
but you can tell like the emotion that he's putting into it with just the way he says, "I am Groot."
Yep. The fact that they all went to a prison and had like this weird plan, and Bradley Cooper does not get enough credit for playing Rocket, and the way he delivers his lines, his sarcasm's way on point. His growth later on in the movies as Rocket is so good. But no, like I would agree with you like this. I was gonna put it at a B because I feel like the second one is way better than this one.
Yes.
But this one I'm okay with putting it at A because I love the Guardians movie. I feel like
Yeah.
they're the unsung hero of the Marvel universe, and they get shit on for no reason.
Oh, for sure. Most definitely they do. And just to reiterate, I think Bradley Cooper's portrayal of Rocket is the best thing from this movie, and the movie is excellent.
Yes, it hits on so many cylinders and does not stop. Even the slow parts aren't slow, in my opinion. Like they
No.
pace so well.
Yeah.
So I'm one of the few people that have a high hope and regard for the DCEU right now, with
I,
him
I'm right
heading
there
it.
with you on that.
But I know so many people are shitting on it and are talking down about James Gunn and trying to start a smear campaign on him.
Oh yeah.
Even personal, like people I know personally are doing that. I'm like, you weren't talking about this when he was doing all this other stuff. So
Now, there are people that are mad at James Gunn because he left the MCU to go be the co-head of the DCU.
it's mostly people on the DC side that are hating on him, and they're trying to blame him for everything that DC has done with all the releases and stuff. Like, some of the people were released before he got the position. So how's it his
Yeah,
fault?
and a lot of like if you actually took the time to read the things, most of them decided not to come back. Like Ben Affleck decided. uh, James Gunn and Peter Safran were like, "Hey, we'd like you to come in and do a rendition of Batman and direct the movie." And he's like, "No, I'm good." The only person that I can think of that they just outright fired was Dwayne Johnson,
Yeah,
but
but
he also did that to himself.
he was trying to strong arm that whole entire cinematic universe.
Yeah. There are new reports that have come out that said that they wanted him to make a cameo in Shazam 2, him and Hawkman,
Yeah,
to
but
make cameos in Shazam 2,
yeah,
and he was like, "No, we're not doing that," and
yeah,
literally just didn't do it and refused to let um
Zachary Levi
the no, yeah, well, that and the guy who portrays Hawkman
make the appearance. Yeah,
make the appearance, which is stupid because like literally Shazam and Black Adam go hand in hand, and Dwayne Johnson wanted it to be Black Adam and Superman, which makes zero sense when you have fucking Shazam.
yep. And the thing is, James Gunn was cool with Black Adam being in the universe. He just
Hmm.
did not want him to be the central person of the universe because he's a villain.
Well, and he's also not the central person of the universe, period.
No,
Like,
like he wanted to be Thanos, but more than Thanos, and that didn't work because you're Black Adam. You're not Darkseid. You're not. Um, shit. Who's the other one?
Apocalypse,
Apocalypse.
or
Yeah.
yeah,
Is it Apocalypse? No, Darkseid's Planet Apocalypse.
no.
Who's the other one? Shoot. Who's the other huge villain?
Why am I drawing a blank?
I was about to say, you're the DC guy.
I am, and I'm drawing a blank. Who is it?
Because the only ones popping up in my head are Marvel characters now, the Marvel big guys.
Right.
Fuck. Well, while you think about that, let's go ahead and focus on the next one.
Yeah.
And this is the MCU yet again kicking up another notch. I think this movie also gets shit on and underrated, and that's Avengers: Age of Ultron.
Oh yeah. This one was as good or better than the first one.
Oh, it's definitely better than the first one. And there's so many subtleties in this one, where we see Captain America wiggle the hammer, let us know that he's almost worthy, but there's something holding him back, which we find out later on what it was that was holding him back from being worthy of the hammer.
Right.
James, is it James? Yeah, it's James Spader. Portrayal of Ultron is so good.
Oh God.
Bill Bellamy's portrayal of the physical Jarvis, aka Vision, also really good. We also get the continuation of Wanda's character development, Hawkeye's character development, also in this one. Natasha and Banner's relationship starting to sort of be a thing, noticeably.
Yes.
So there was so much character development from this movie on that I think helped the MCU's further movies also.
Yeah, I feel like this is like the beginning of the breakout of Hawkeye and Wanda.
Yeah, I have to agree.
I really feel like maybe Hawkeye stole this movie and was like, "Look, I'm that dude."
I don't know if I can see what you're talking about, but to be honest, I feel like the breakout character was actually Ultron.
Well, I mean, he was like, I put him on par with like Iron Man, because like main character, like
Yeah,
Hawkeye is still kind of a him and Wanda and to an extent Black Widow, still feel like side characters in this
yeah. Oh,
movie.
for sure, I understand that.
Uh, and I put Ultron in that main character category, along with Thor, Iron Man, Captain America, and Hulk to an extent.
Yeah, but I do want to put this at B, but I want to put it probably like right in the middle because it's so good.
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be fine. All right, next on the list is another movie I consider better than it should have been, and
Much better than it should have been.
that's Ant-Man 1, because it sure as
Hmm.
shit surprised me. It was way better than what it should have been. I actually think it's an extremely good movie. I think it's a B tier movie.
Yeah, I'm right there with you on that one.
Like, so people don't know Ant-Man, obviously don't understand why Scott Lang was picked and not Hank Pym, but Hank Pym is actually a really dark character to portray in movies in general. I mean, yeah, you can write around all his other stuff, but what makes Hank Pym is his darkness, his addiction problem, his violence problem, like his domestic abuse problem, his like he has to go through so much growth. Scott
Yes.
makes sense because he is more of a down to earth guy. He does have his problems and faults here and there, obviously, but he's more relatable. And I think Paul Rudd was the right choice, even though he's like 85 years old. He looks like he's 20. But no, even like the whole cast is good. Like the van crew with like his I don't want to say henchmen or his friends. They all play so well off each other. It was so good to see like the whole. I laughed so hard during this movie, but I also felt such great emotion because I understand his turmoil as a father who just wants his daughter. Like literally, that's all he wants. That's his whole prerogative. That's his whole entire narrative of his life. Is just he just wants to be with his daughter,
Yes.
and it makes so much sense. Like this movie is so undervalued, so underrated, and it gets shit on, and it's so much better than what it should have been. The villain was okay. The battle where the miniature and they're fighting on the train tracks with the Thomas the Tank is so hilarious to me.
It is. I love this movie.
Also, it's a heist movie. It makes so much sense that it makes sense
Mhm.
that it's a heist movie because Scott Lang's a thief. And it just works.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm right there with you. B, I would almost it's kind of that for me. It's that borderline A.
Borderline. So, are
Um,
you saying that, do you think it's better than Spider-Man 1 and Iron Man 1?
I, I don't know that it's better than Spider-Man 1 and Iron Man 1, but it's for me personally, it's on par with those uh because like you kind of hit everything, everybody plays well off of each other. The casting was so well, the emotion, uh it's just all right there. Like it was one of those movies that really ended up being much better than it should have been.
Yes. Um, let's move on to the next one. Is a movie that I think gets shit on a lot, and I really enjoy it. Um, it does have its faults. It does have man moments, but overall, I think is a good movie. I think it's a 50-50. People probably put it as an E or an F, but the revamped Fantastic Four, the Michael B. Jordan and Miles Teller, Jason Trank directed it. Um, I thought this Fantastic Four was better than the first two.
I see. I was gonna go that way, and I thought it was better than the first two. This is another one of those movies that I had zero hope for, and it ended up being better than like it's not extremely good. It's not on par with like Spider-Man 1, Iron Man 1, Ant-Man or anything, but it was much better than it should have been.
Yep.
Uh Considering the coming off of the Iron or the first Fantastic Four and then Fantastic Four Rise of the Silver Surfer, this movie I was like, oh, they're gonna tear it down again, and it ended up being much better.
Yes. I don't think it's better than the first Avengers, in my opinion, but
No.
it's on the cusp of being up there. It's definitely better than Blade and X3, in my
Yes,
opinion.
I think so.
But next movie on the list is a movie I don't give a shit about. I don't care about this character or anything at all. I know people like it. Um, this was a movie that really just like for me, but I know people like it. I know you like it, and that's Deadpool.
Um, so this is another one of those movies. I will give it 50-50. Um, but I almost feel like it should go in D. I guess it's okay. Uh, because after the portrayal of Deadpool in the X-Men movie, it was like whatever. But like this, it ended up being better than I thought it was going to be, but
Hmm.
it's not great by any means.
Yeah, people live and die by this movie now, and it's so. I remember when this movie first came out, and going to conventions, everybody was fucking Deadpool, and I'm like, you guys are the what we call toxic fandom, and you will ruin a movie, and they have ruined it for me.
Right.
I could put it in C or D, so it's whichever one to you, really. Because, like I said, you probably like it more than I do.
Um, where would you put it?
Trash can, but
Oh wow.
that's because just how bad that fan base has made this movie to me.
Okay.
When I be with my biases because of that off, I probably would put it as a 50-50 movie. I probably put it between X1 and Daredevil.
Let's do that.
All right.
Yeah.
Next on the list was a major key point and turning point for the MCU. I wish they would have made another movie sort of like this. Civil War. This movie was fucking gritty, dark, super action packed, made you quiet for the whole movie and just waited in anticipation to see what's going to happen next.
Yes.
I think this movie is another one of those that hit the almost flawless category.
I see. I'm right there with you, and the fact that we get Spider-Man in the MCU, like an actual Spider-Man in the MCU.
Also, the introduction of Black Panther.
Also, the introduction of Black Panther. Yeah, this is an S tier movie.
This movie also is. This is my theory. I know some people won't agree with me because it's probably too introspective, but this movie is what finally let Captain America pick up the hammer because he finally released the guilt of knowing what Bucky did to Tony's parents.
Yes.
And that's why I think so. It also has probably one of the best fight scenes in general. That final fight between Bucky and Cap versus Iron Man is such an underrated fight scene.
Oh,
Like just the
them trading the shield back and forth.
and like
Yes.
beating him up, but he's still holding his own for some of it. Is just so well done, and like especially that camera angle because it's not jump cutting. It's literally like at as a mid shot angle to where you can see all three of them in the frame doing the action, and you just see the fight going on. Like I said, it's gritty. I mean, this like the beginning scene where they are trying to get crossbone and they end up doing all that damage in the I can't remember what country it was. I know it was an African country, causing the Sokovian Accords to happen and like really being on the fence line of Some people I know honestly were on the side of Iron Man, like truly on the side of Iron Man, where every superhero had to register and had to go by the government law. And I know people that were on the Cap side, which I'm one of the guys that was on Cap side, because if this was a real thing, I don't think superheroes should always give themselves away, because we give up our superheroes and they get killed by supervillains who know who they are in real life.
Right. Yeah. It's different with people like Iron Man, because
He gave himself away.
he gave himself away. But when you look at guys like Spider-Man, people don't need to know who Spider-Man is, because he doesn't, yes, he can shoot webs, but if people knew who he really was, they would go after his family and his friends. And we see that in later renditions of Spider-Man. Like, you just can't have that all the time.
Nope. And also the fact that he's a kid. Like, Iron Man isn't a grown ass man, but
Right.
Peter Parker was 14 in the movie, I think.
I think so.
Because I think he was just starting high school, so 14, I believe.
Yeah.
And I mean, like in the comic book Civil War, like Spider-Man is the pivotal point of the Sokovian Accords, like the true comic series, because him identifying, like releasing who he was such a big moment. Like, it held so much weight because, yes, he believed in keeping your alter ego apart to protect the ones you love and everything like that. And him revealing himself was such a big moment because everybody's like, oh, we didn't think he'd do that. And he does, and it just changes so much for the landscape of the Marvel comic line too. But
Yes.
like the way they did the way they did the movie Civil War with what they had, because they obviously weren't able to do the true full Civil War, which I think they're actually going to do. They're sort of building up with Secret Wars and King Dynasty. I'm really excited to see those movies.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I feel like Civil War is almost a almost flawless movie.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
So much greatness, just a few probably nitpicks here and there that make it not be obviously flawless, but I mean, just great action sequences everywhere. So much story, so much depth for your characters and everything like that. But let's move on to the next movie, which is another movie that people were crapping on to crap on, and that is X-Men Apocalypse.
Oh, I thought this was really good.
I do too.
I personally would put it B.
Yep, I'm putting it up there too.
Yeah. This was one of those movies that, like, with the Apocalypse character, I know a lot of people were like, oh, he's just trying to be Thanos. Like, look at the backstory of who Apocalypse is and everything. Like, they nailed it.
Yeah.
And
Oscar Isaac did such a great job.
Oh, God. Yeah. And I know we're only talking about the movies, but his portrayal of Moon Knight in the Disney Plus series was really good, too.
Yep. Oscar Isaac's one of my favorite just actors in general, but he's also one of my, like, he's one of the few Hispanic actors that get such big movie roles overall. So,
Yes.
I mean, like, he's just a guy I like to see because he's someone like me. I haven't had my own superhero yet. So I got to settle for my super villains. But no, that's why I'm so excited for the Blue Beetle movie.
Yes.
But no, I'm like, so many people crap on Apocalypse. Like, I don't get it. Like, there's so many good parts of this movie. Like, yeah, it's not amazing, but it's good. Like, when you go back and watch it, you watch it and you're like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, this is actually really good. And you're like, but we're not supposed to like this movie because the internet told me not to like this movie.
Exactly.
Next on the list is probably the top tier, better than what it was supposed to be movie, and that's Doctor Strange 1. This movie is fucking amazing. It is I want to put it A tier because it was so much more than what I had expectations for, and it did not miss, in my opinion.
Oh, no. And Benedict Cumberbatch did fucking phenomenal.
Yep.
As Doctor Strange, and just how, like, he came to be. Like, you get that origin of how he got the Doctor Strange powers and everything. And, like, let's be honest, who wouldn't do that?
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's such
this is an A tier for me.
yes, and he's one of those guys that the casting makes sense because he sort of looks like Stephen Strange does in the comics.
Hmm.
So it makes sense, like how Robert Downey Jr. was a shoe fit for Iron Man because he sort of looked like him to begin with, and how the character is designed to look like Robert Downey Jr. I mean,
Yeah,
Stephen Strange is now portrayed to look like how Benedict Cumberbatch looks like, but that's
yeah.
not a
I
bad thing
mean,
because those characters are they are such that character that it makes sense to make them look the same at this point.
yeah. It's like I can't imagine. Well, even Hugh Jackman with Wolverine. Like I can't imagine anybody else portraying that character. I know it's gonna happen eventually, but like Hugh Jackman is Wolverine.
Yep.
Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man. Like I can't imagine anybody else putting on the suit and just be like, I am Iron Man. Like I can't imagine it. And it's the same with Benedict Cumberbatch and Doctor Strange. Like
Yep.
they go hand in hand at this point, and it's going to be weird to see somebody else portray those characters when that time finally comes.
Yep, I agree. And speaking of Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, next up to me is another amazing, beyond amazing movie, and that is Logan.
Yes, this is an A
Hey,
tier for me.
oof, I was gonna put an S tier. I love this movie so much, but you know what? When I go back and watched it the second time, it didn't hit as hard as the first time, and I think that's why it does fit in the A. Cause so for me, the criteria for almost flawless means there's very little negative, obviously. Um,
Right?
the pros way surpass the cons, but it has to have rewatchability on so many magnitude. And I think Logan has that to a certain point. I think after a certain amount of times watching it, it loses that sensibility because there's only so much that heartfelt story can get you, as opposed to Winter Soldier and Civil War. They have so much replayability because there's just so much other stuff happening, other stories happening, such a culmination of everything going on. The sequences are great and everything like that. And I think Logan falls right out of that just a little bit because the villain in it does not hit as hard for me the second time I watched it. I was like, oof, it dropped down a
No.
lot from that first time to that second time view. And I got
Yeah.
this movie like 4K, Ultra HD, even the black and white version, just because how much I love the movie.
Oh yeah, yeah. In the fact that we get like I feel like the only thing that this movie misses on is there's not a sequel with X-23.
Yes. And the girl that played her did such an amazing job.
Yes. Yeah, and I think that's the one major miss of this movie is there's not an X-23 sequel with her.
Yes.
So,
Nope, I completely agree. Next on the list, this one we may get in a little discussion on. I think this movie's an A tier movie, or I mean S tier movie, and that's Guardians of the Galaxy 2. There's such little negative with this movie.
no, I'm right there with you. This is an S tier movie.
This movie was the pure catalyst of Thanos being able to accomplish his mission in Infinity War. And I say that because this is the movie that pretty much Peter Quill not only has to re-experience the loss of his mother, the introduction of his biological father and loss of his biological father, but finds out his biological father killed his mother. But he also loses the man who raised him, who sacrificed his life so he could live on. He lost all his parents in one movie and gained
Yes.
his one true love. And then when we get to Infinity War, obviously we'll talk about that situation. But this movie sets up so much for the universe. The opening scene is probably my favorite opening scene of any Marvel movie to begin with, too. The one where they're fighting on the planet of the perfect people, and that wormhole monster comes through, and then Groot just turns the radio on during the middle of the fight and just has a little baby Groot dance. But you see all the action sequences and all the guys playing their characters Drax is no longer super serious. He has that humor with him. Rocket's a little bit more mature and worried about Baby Groot. Gamora is more, I guess, she's putting up her emotional wall up because she is falling for Peter, and Peter's just trying to be the leader of the group, even though he doesn't know what he's doing, but he's just doing the best he can, and the dynamic works so well in this movie with everybody.
Yes. Yeah, I'm with you 100%. I love that opening sequence with them.
I don't know if there's a scene that I don't like. Like, to be honest.
No, I agree, but just with like that opening sequence, Groot turning on the boombox, and you see him dancing around,
Yep.
and all this other stuff is going on, but Groot doesn't care because he's just dancing.
Yep, he's a baby enjoying his music.
Yes.
And then there's the scene where they're all locked up in the prison, in the cell, and they have to have Baby Groot go get the red mohawk, and he comes back with the human toe.
Yes.
And
he came back with so much stuff that just wasn't what it was supposed to be.
But that joke never played itself out. It was just funny the whole way through. And then when he brings that baby toe, Rocket's like, oh, we're never going to talk about this again. Because where did this toe come from? We don't know, and we'll never know. And it played so well. No, and then even the part where we at the Ravager hangout and we see the leaders of the Ravengers, all the 5 clan leaders, and Sylvester Stallone is the Ravager leader, and he talks about how Yondu was supposed to be the one up there, and he disappoints them all and everything like that. Just stuff like that, where we get other side stories that also do have a bigger impact on the overall movie, and just like then that's when the perfect people come in and they have that little. They draw out that little white carpet or red carpet, whatever it was, and doesn't actually reach all the way either. It's just like a little gag in there to like the serious moment, but something stupid happens and it just fits it all together. Like there's so much goodness in this movie.
Yes.
And Drax and Mantis' weird relationship that fits but doesn't fit because he misunderstands her attempts to be a friend. He thinks she's in love with him, and he's like, I'm disgusted by you. You're such a repulsive creature. Oh, I can't do this. And he almost throws up. Like Bautista, yet again, showing his range. Just the way he has dry humor, and it works so well with him.
It does. And it works so well with the Drax character.
Yep. All right, so the next movie on the list is a movie I think me and you may put as an A movie, and that's Spider-Man Homecoming. Yeah,
definitely an A movie.
I know people are probably like, wasn't on an almost flawless movie. There's a lot of small, minute things, in my opinion, that make it far from being almost flawless. But the biggest impact of this movie, because the movie felt a little clunky-ish, in my opinion. I don't know why, but even when I rewatch it, I still feel like there's a little clunkiness somewhere in there. But the big moment is when he goes pick up his prom date, and instead of her opening the door, it's Michael Keaton, who is the Vulture, who is his main villain. And it turns the movie from like being okay, like, oh yeah, this is an origin story, but not really. They're trying to do the Marvel thing, but then they give us that twist, and it ramps it up so much because you're like, holy shit, what is going to happen now? And then they have the talk in the car, and they're like, I know who you are, and I know you know who I am. Let's get this shit straight. And everything like that. Like, it was just like so much intensity and everything like that. I really enjoyed the movie overall. Like, it does have small things here and there that keep it from being an S tier movie.
Yes.
Like, the big twist doesn't hit as hard. Probably the 4th or 5th time you watch the movie through. So
no.
Next on the list is another movie that should belong in the better than what it was supposed to be movie, and that's Thor Ragnarok. Because Taika Waititi took over, and he made the movies from being the boring, lame shits they were to being actual enjoyable movies.
Yeah, for me personally, this is a B movie.
Yep.
Just because it just hit on so many different levels, and even the inclusion of Hulk in it. And like
and Loki.
Yeah, well, and Hulk being funny,
Mm-hmm.
like, yes, yeah. This is it's there for me.
So next movie on the list. Oh, this doesn't actually go all the way to everything. Now that I see it, there's a couple movies missing.
Yeah,
Damn, I might have to. We might be able to write them in or something. I don't know.
maybe we'll figure it out.
Yes. But next on the list is a movie.
Oh, this is S tier for
Yes.
me.
Okay. Okay. I wanted to say that, but I was like, I can see if you don't see it's an S tier, but I think it's an S tier. I don't think this movie misses on any platform. I don't think this movie is probably on a scale of 1 to 100. This movie's a 99.5.
Yeah,
Just very like the smallest nitpicks possible to not give this 100%. Like Black Panther 1, just so much perfection from every person in the cast. And I mean, Chadwick Boseman was the
he was
perfect choice.
he was born to play T'Challa, and he died playing T'Challa. So,
Like
like,
we talk about Robert Downey Jr. being Iron Man, Benedict Cumberbatch being Strange, Hugh Jackman being Wolverine. Like Chadwick Boseman is what Black Panther is. Like they are such the same regard of a character. Like it was like he literally was born to be this character.
yes, 100%.
Like I can't see anybody. I still can't see anybody else being T'Challa,
No,
at all. Unfortunately, we lost probably one of the greatest actors. I mean, just in general, like going back to his like catalog of movies, he played so many fucking important characters in history of just America in general, but just so many characters in like even in Marvel, he played one of the most important characters.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Uh, I was gonna say if you just look, a lot of what his movies were
But
biopics,
yep,
and like his portrayal of Jackie Robinson in 42
yeah,
was great.
James
Obviously,
Brown,
yeah, obviously T'Challa, his portrayal of Thurgood Marshall in Marshall.
such an underrated movie. Like so many people do not know about that movie, and it makes me mad because it's such a great movie to begin with.
Yeah. So just it's like his career, had he not passed, he would have been regarded as one of the greats. I regard him as one of the greats,
Yep.
just because of like everything that he portrayed in any movie, especially this movie. He just didn't miss.
No, not at
But
all. But no, this movie, like, so he is the goodness, but his counterpart of Michael B. Jordan's Killmonger fits so well too.
oh yes,
Like we can't even like we talk like so. A lot of people like there's a lot of things where like supervillains are admired so much because people relate to them so well, and I think Killmonger is one of those people because he was a man abandoned by his people, left orphaned by his people, and had to grow up by himself. So he's so justifiable in his actions,
oh yeah,
and it's
yeah.
so rare to get a true justified villain.
Yeah, I mean, you can look at that character and you can say, I understand why he's doing everything he's doing.
Yep, and
And there's a lot of villains that you cannot do that with. You just can't.
I'm trying to think about like all the ones that I think like yeah you're justified and everything like Mr. Freeze obviously is one we talked about before many times.
Yeah.
Doc Ock because he also lost his love, so
Hmm.
he's all passionate, but also the chip went haywire during like his experimentation. So it's like that's one. But I mean, I mean, Civil War doesn't really have a villain, but it doesn't also have heroes because they're fighting each other. So I guess, I mean, maybe, but no. I mean, there's not really. I guess Winter Soldier is another one because Bucky was brainwashed. It's like that's really
Yeah.
about all I can really think about. Or Magneto and X2.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, like it's such a far and small grouping of people who are justifiable villains. Next on the list, the culmination of 10 years hard work and starting from flatness to being box office successes, we have Infinity War. I always rank these lower than what people do because of my non-understanding of Thanos' motivation, because it doesn't really make sense when you think about it.
No.
But this movie is still extremely good, maybe excellent. I think I think out of the two Thanos movies, it's the weaker one of them. So I could go with extremely good.
I see. I would put this one in a B tier, uh, just because I think, and we'll get to it, but I think um, the second one is better. But I'm with you. I don't understand Thanos's brain on this one because he's doing this for what?
Yeah,
Like, why is he trying to take over the entire universe when the motivation is really because his homeland was destroyed and all that? Like, you could literally just take and snap that back and you're good.
he can do that, and he could also just make infinite resources.
Yes.
Like to me, it never makes sense. Overpopulation causes the destruction of resources, which causes destruction of planets. So I feel like every now and then I need to go through and kill half the population directly down the middle. There's no choosing a why. It's as fair as it can be, or just make infinite resources so resources never run out and people don't have to depend on a finite amount of resources and probably can actually prosper more. But yeah,
Yep. Right there with you.
but that's why in reality I rate this movie probably a D. I know people are gonna fucking talk shit to me and try to kill me and stuff like that, but whatever, I don't care. Fuck y'all. Next on the list is another movie I do not enjoy at all, and that's Deadpool 2.
See, I don't think I'm in the abnormal. I don't think this one was as good as the first one.
I watched it. I did not enjoy it. I didn't laugh one single time during this movie. At least in the
No.
first one I laughed, but the second one I did not laugh at
Yeah.
all.
For me, this is this is a D movie because I do think it was better than Hulk, Fantastic Four, and Spider-Man 3, but it's like at the very end of the D tier list.
All right. Um, movie number two. Next movie on the list, not movie number two, is Ant-Man and Wasp, or Ant-Man 2, which is um I still think it's better than what it needs to be. I actually feel like it's right on par with the first one though.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
don't think it surpasses the first one, but I don't think it's lesser than the first one.
No, this is a B tier movie, and I would put it like right next to Ant-Man 1. I think they're equally as good, and one, I don't feel that one is better than the other.
Yeah. Um so next on the list is Sony's Venom. I think this movie is a true 50-50 movie.
Yeah, it's a true 50-50. It was better than it had any reason to be, especially with like Tom Hardy playing Venom,
Hmm.
having pretty much just came off of being Bane in The Dark Knight Rises, um, which was an incredible portrayal of that character, in my opinion. Um, and then to go and play this character, I think it really showed like some of his range, because Venom is such a the character of Venom is so weird anyway, because it's multiple, like it's a symbiote, and symbiote takes, like there's multiple iterations, multiple brains inside of it, I
Yep.
guess you could say. So this definitely was better than it should have been, but not as good as it could have been.
Yes. I agree with that. Next on the list is a movie I will fall hard and die for, and that's Spider-Man. Um, across the
Into this
across,
is it
yes,
Across the Spider Verse or Into the
Into
Spider
the Spider
Verse?
Verse. Sorry,
Yeah,
because Across the Spider Verse is a new one that's coming out. But
right.
yes, Into the Spider Verse, I think is an S tier movie.
Um, I'll give you S tier. I was gonna say A tier, but it's like at the very beginning of A tier, very end of S tier for me. Um, so
I mean, there's just not much wrong with this movie, and it has such good replayability or rewatchability. Um, I love like one of the very minor details that I love that was put into this movie is that at the beginning of the movie, Miles' animation is 24 frames a second, and as he progresses, he goes from 24 to 34 to 24 to 30 frames. And after he makes the leap of faith, he goes to 60 frames and catches up to everything else in the universe because everything else was at a 60 frames portrayal. The
yes,
animation style is different, but it's engaging. It keeps you interested because it is a comic style animation. It's like a true comic coming out in a movie portrayal.
yes,
And I mean, the other Spider Men are, I think, the right picks because they are all different mentor styles to Miles. And I, like as always, I am a sucker for Spider Gwen. So my bias might be on that, but no, I just love the movie because it's just so done. The soundtrack is amazing too.
yes,
Sony
yes.
Sony did the right thing in making this an animated movie because it worked so well the way it did.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So next on the list is Captain Marvel, and I'm gonna put this at F tier.
Thank you. You said it before I could. Uh,
It's not
I
complete trash, but
Yeah. I'm just wondering what they're gonna do with the second
yeah,
version of this.
I'm gonna put it
With
above Ghost Rider, so because I think it is better than Ghost Rider.
it is. It is. Yeah. I don't know who this movie was made for, other than Brie
Brie
Larson.
Larson.
Uh, um,
I don't even know if it was made for her.
I, this feels like one of those money grab movies to me. Um, and I'm really interested to see what they're gonna do with the second one, the Marvels. Um,
Have you seen
because
Miss Marvel?
the series,
Yeah.
yeah, I thought it was okay.
Okay. I just want to make sure. I didn't know if you had seen it or not.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Yeah, I thought it was okay for a series that is also a origin story.
yep.
Because normally origin stories we have always been given in movie form. So for them to do it and spread it out like they did, I thought was pretty good.
I think that's a good thing that they've been doing with some of the TV series that they're giving us certain side characters origins as a show, so they can really. Because some of these characters, if they didn't make a movie for it, wouldn't work. Like Moon Knight definitely wouldn't work as an origin movie. Like
Not
making
as
it a
an
show,
origin movie,
yeah,
but
as a show
like
makes perfect sense because you give it time to build and people to understand. And Miss Marvel's the
yes,
same way.
if you did a Moon Knight movie after the series, I think it would hit hard.
Yeah,
Uh,
but it definitely would
but
not work well as a fucking movie because I was like,
mm,
man, Moon Knight's such a weird character to begin with, and I don't know how they were going to do the TV show, but the show worked so well.
yes,
But all right. So next on the list is the second um, Thanos movie, Endgame, which I definitely think is better than the first one. I do with my this because this is post snap, so at this point, Thanos' motivation doesn't matter. So I guess like that's my biggest thing with Infinity War is that Thanos' motivation doesn't make sense. But this is post that, and then his motivation changes when he finds out that they time traveled. And he wants to just kill everybody in the universe, which makes him a better villain in that sense because it makes more sense for him to do that.
yes,
But I am going to put this as a class movie or A tier movie.
yeah. This is an A tier movie. And if this movie was just standalone by itself without the first one, it makes even more sense because you know, you could do like a flashback scene of the snap, but this movie makes even more sense without watching the first one because it's like you said, Thanos' motivation is more clear because it's like, oh, they time traveled, they're trying to take away what I've done. No, I'm killing everybody.
Yep. And the opening scene also just hits so hard. Hawkeye losing his family pretty much in front of his eyes.
Mm,
Everybody else, his whole family got dusted, but him.
yes.
Like that just hits hard. And
I've always wondered how the snap decided who to take and who to leave.
I mean, it was just like when he was making his choices on planets, he would literally grab everybody up and then just split it right down the middle and pick one side, left or right, and that's the side that would be destroyed.
Yeah.
Um, and I feel like the snap was the same. It just had calculated everything in the universe, and then just like left side or right side, and boop, that's what was done. Um, I think the only really saving points of Infinity War is the post snap sequences going out, and Spider Man looking up at Iron Man and saying, "I don't feel good, so good, Mister Stark," and just
Yes.
fading away. Like that's probably the hardest hitting point of that movie. Well, that and T'Challa. So pretty much the snap took out everybody who was the original part of the original six Avengers,
Right.
which I understand what they did that and everything like that. But then, um, the Ant-Man part in Avengers Endgame was like really the downfall. Like he didn't get affected by the snap because he's technically not part of time and space because he's in the quantum realm.
Yeah.
But
That
time does
one was that's kind
progress.
of weird.
Time progresses differently, but it doesn't mean it's out of time and space. It just means it's in an alternate part of time and space, but it's still in time and space. But yeah, other than that, that's pretty much like the fight sequences are really good. The redeeming parts of people is good. Thor going through his struggle because he feels like he's not worthy anymore.
Well,
Um,
because Thanos whooped his ass.
yeah, and he felt like he was the strongest Avenger when he wasn't. He even beat Hulk. So who is the strongest Avenger? Captain America, because he grabbed his hand and almost pushed him down. Well, technically
Hmm.
at that point, Wanda, because she was actually kicking his ass and she almost kills him in Endgame.
Yes.
To the point where he sacrifices even his own people on the battlefield just to be freed up. But no, this movie does a lot of good stuff, and then that true final scene where everybody just gets brought back in, and then right after Cap and Thor had just gone mollywad, Thor stands up. He's like, "I could do this all day," bladed up, and then you hear on your left Cap, which is a reference to Winter Soldier, where he was running past Sam all the time, and then like
Yes.
everybody just starts coming through the portals and everything, and it was just so good. Like it
I
was
and
such a
that
great moment.
and the end, the end, it gets me every time, and I know what's gonna happen, but I get choked up every time. You know,
You want to
with
go get cheeseburgers?
it just gets me every time. I'm telling you.
I love you 3000
I love you 3000.
because it's more than a ton. Like people don't understand why she said that because 3000 is more than 2000. 2000 is a ton, so she loves it more than a ton.
Yes.
Just a small little. I guess maybe it's like having a kid. I understand that reference more because it just makes more sense in the sense of thinking of it as a father-daughter relationship or just parent relationship to your kid. Where like, oh, I love you a ton, and you're like, I love you more than a ton. I love you 3000. Like it made like immediately made sense to me.
Yes. Yeah, me too.
Next on the list is I'm Dark Phoenix, trash can.
Uh
That movie's so bad.
it's bad, but is it as bad as the second Ghost Rider? Um I
Uh,
I would put it at an F. Um
yeah. Let me put it at F. I feel like I did that was harsh, but I don't think anything's worse than fucking Ghost Rider 2.
that's just what I'm saying. And I mean, we put Man Thing in there just because neither one of us have seen it. And it looked like it bombed
Everywhere.
in everywhere. Yeah, it didn't even go to theaters. So, but yeah, Dark Phoenix. There was so much that
At,
could have been done with this movie, and they just missed the mark,
I feel like they gave up with it. Because
which doesn't make any sense.
the first three were so good, and then this one just shits the bed. Like so hard. Like it shit the bed, put it in a pillowcase, and then just laid on the pillowcase.
Yeah.
It just misses everything. It misses all the points. It misses every single thing that makes like I get it though, because I feel like the same way was X3. Because Phoenix is such a hard character to put into a movie because there's so much complexity to who and what the Phoenix Force actually is.
Yes.
But we'll move on. We're almost done with this. This list was only went up to movies up to 2020. I believe what it was. So we got next list. I guess we'll do the 2021s and 2022 movies, and I guess
Yeah.
2023s. Yeah, we can do 2023 since most of them are already out. But this one is a really good movie overall. It is Spider-Man. No way. Far From Home. Sorry.
Far From Home. Yeah.
I will put this also in the excellent category.
Yeah, this is an A tier. I mean, it doesn't miss on much.
Nope. There's a few things here and there. The replayability is good, but it's not great enough to where it still hits hard every time you watch it through. But I think I felt weird when with Mysterio and the way they were doing it, being from quote unquote alternate universe, which he was, which was really weird.
Yeah.
But I think overall it's good. We get the stealth suit Spider-Man. We get some good overall like character development. Like him and Mary Jane's relationship is more serious. We see more things here and there just play out really good. And I think it's really like I said, the replayability, it lessens the movie the more and more you watch it. Like it's something you don't want to watch 4 or 5 times in a week or anything like that. Like you want to space out the watching for it so you can see something new here or there, or just remember something that you didn't remember before. But like it's so good still.
Oh
Tom
yeah.
Holland's so good as Peter. And
Well,
Spidey.
we I was gonna say, we give Tom Holland all the flowers, but Zendaya as MJ, she really nails that character.
Was better than, of course, because it's better than Kristen Dunst's portrayal.
Oh yeah, Kirsten Dunst is.
I hated it so much. I still hate it to this point.
I do too. Like I think she's a decent actor or actress. I'm sorry.
I think they
But
prefer actors now.
I'm not sure. I'm really not. But I just don't think I don't think she wanted to play that character. I don't think she knew anything about that character. And her portrayal of that character was hot garbage.
I agree with you. I don't think she knew what she was doing at
Yeah,
all. But no. Next on this, have you? I'm gonna ask you, have you seen it yet?
I
Um,
have.
okay, because I know many people haven't because it got relegated to FX, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Um, but the New Mutants, I think this movie is extremely good.
Yeah, this is a B tier movie for me. I like the fact that they introduced New Mutants,
Hmm.
of course, and the way they did it, it made it almost a horror movie.
Yeah,
Uh,
such a weird take, but it works.
yeah,
I don't know. It just everything worked out with it. It was such a weird take on it. I love it. Well, I don't love it. I think it's really great. Um, but no, it worked so well. I think it being relegated to FX sort of hurts it because I had to watch it on. I mean, it's technically on Hulu and everything, but like it should have came out in theaters. I think it should have been a bigger theatrical release.
oh yeah,
They didn't market it well because they didn't make it seem like it was a Marvel movie, even though they called it the New Mutants. Sorry, they didn't really market it like they had their other movies at this point. Like they were like sort of ashamed of it for some reason. I don't get it.
well yeah, they didn't even market it as an X-Men movie, really,
Nope.
um, which was a miss, in my opinion, because I think if you would have um marketed it as, you know, X-Men the New Mutants, uh it would have got like the the
So
the
much more.
the audience would have picked up on it more. Like it's just I don't understand the marketing for this movie and why it got relegated to FX and not. I think it may have actually came out in theaters, but
I don't
on
remember it,
a
but I think you're right, but I don't remember.
uh, but I don't think it got a wide showing.
Probably didn't. I don't get what they were doing. Like I said, it just doesn't make sense to me. Um,
Uh,
but yeah, yeah. This is. I
just
think.
trying to see. Yeah, so I mean, it did go to the box office. It bombed at the box office. The budget was 80 million. It made 49.2 million.
But I think you're the way they market it just is the reason why it failed. They set it up for failure because, like you said, they didn't market it as an X-Men movie, and I don't remember them putting a Marvel spin on it at all.
No, well, it's actually a Fox movie before
Technically, yeah,
Marvel. Yeah, or yeah, it's 20th Century Studio, uh, right before Marvel got the rights back.
yeah. But I mean, like at this point, I mean, because on
Yeah, yeah, this was the final installment
a Fox,
uh
yeah.
before the whole series was moved to Marvel.
But I mean, even before that, like the Fox movies were still heavy on showing the Marvel logo to get people to watch the movie. Because I remember Logan having the Marvel logo really big.
Yeah,
Um, X Men, Apocalypse had it. Um, the
I think
Deadpool
the
movies
other
did.
yeah, I think the other thing that may have hurt it is it was delayed 2 years. So it was originally
Yeah, I
supposed to be
think you're
released
right.
in 2018, and it didn't release until 2020 because of Deadpool 2 and Dark Phoenix.
Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, but so looking at the list, what like, there's there anything we need to move up, down, left, right? Um, I feel like maybe would reorganizing these and probably like the almost flawless movies. I don't think. I mean, we just need to really move those. Like we're saying, those are movies like they're like 99.5 and up.
Yeah.
But low,
Uh
99.5 to 99.9.
Looking at the list now that we've got it done,
Mhm.
I'm not sure that I would move anything really. I know I said we could rearrange if needed, but now that we're through the list, I think everything really like lands where it should.
Yeah.
Uh, there possibly a C to a B or a B to a C, but that's really fine tuning and nitpicking.
I mean, I can move this
Uh,
down to here. Um, well, maybe right here. But that's my opinion. That's just me, you know. Just how much I don't like that movie.
right.
But no, we did like the first full phase of the MCU and everything before the MCU and during the MCU's first. Well, I say first phase, but it's first 4 phases technically,
Right.
or 3 phases. Was it 3 phases or 4 phases?
4. I,
Yeah.
I'm pretty no, not the full 4 because no, I think that's the first 3 phases. Because I think phase 4 is what we're in now.
Uh,
And phase 4 is a lot of TV series.
yes, you're right.
So,
Because Black Widow was the first phase 4. Wait till we get to 2020 and 2021 and 2022 Marvel stuff. Because I got a lot
mm,
to talk about, and I'm definitely going to upset some people.
yeah, me too.